Happy Monday. Let's start with our affirmation today, and it says, today is my best day. Yeah, today I will win. Today I fully embrace my God-given gifts, and today I courageously step on my fears. Today I operate without hesitation, and today I make an impact. Let's go. Here's the truth, y'all. We just want to know stuff. We just want to have the answers. So we want to know what's coming next. So we use GPSs and weather apps and recipes and every predictor we can find, right? We enjoy mystery on TV and in books or even a horror show at Halloween, but generally in our lives, we crave certainty. But what if you can't have it? How do you deal with that? Let's talk about that in a moment. But first, welcome to the show. I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me, Monday Mindset Movement, 15 to 30 minutes of motivation, elevation, inspiration, designed to get you thinking, blinking, rocking, and rolling through your week. Thank you all for showing up today on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and even Twitch this morning. I'm so glad that you're here. Do me a favor, if you want to get down with the Monday Mindset crew and know when we're live, go to mondaymindsetmovement.com or text live to 240-557-8679. All right, come get some. I'm glad that y'all are here. Let's jump in and get started with this show today. Ready? Let's do it.
It's time to get motivated, elevated, and accelerated. It's your time to jump out of your comfort zone and reach higher. It's time to get up and go. Grab your cup of grit and your daily dose of resilience. It's time for the Monday Mindset Movement with your host, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. It's time.
Hey, my friends, I am so glad you decided to join the movement today. Yes, the Monday Mindset Movement. Do your man a favor. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Hey, G. Anthony Graham, so glad that you're here on Instagram, on Facebook, on Instagram. Suraj, so glad that you're here. La Spa, so glad that you're here. Laura, Gift Hair, so glad that you are here. All right, LinkedIn, Gary says, I love it. It's coming up as Facebook for me, bro. All right. All right, I want to shout out your home base. Where are you coming in from? New York, Florida, California? Where are you coming in from? How do you start your week? Are you... Yeah. All right. How are you starting your week? With a sigh, or are you riding high? That's why this show exists. We want to pump you up for the week, right? We want to get you moving. We want to get you rocking, rolling, thinking, blinking. Before we jump in, I want to share something special. If you're looking for a space to supercharge your business growth, using public speaking, storytelling, we're launching the Story to Sales Mastermind in November. So it's about learning how to leverage your voice to amplify what you already are building and doing it with others. Head on over to storytosalesmastermind.com, fill out our interest form, and we'll get you the information shortly. We are here at our new time. I hope you're fired up because champions arise at dawn. Yeah, good deal. All right. G. Anthony Graham says Bronx, New York. Sigh. Why is that a sigh, brother? Oh, man. All right. Don Kirk Lewis. Danny from Florida. I like it. Excellent. So glad that y'all are here this morning. ORL 4879. So glad that you're here this morning. All right. Let's dive in. So several months ago, I told y'all about a trip that my wife and I went on. We went on a trip with some other couples, right? And this trip was a really neat trip. We loved it. We absolutely loved it. We got to spend some time with some other couples and experience some new experiences. Now, one of the activities that we participated in on this trip was a trust walk. And the idea behind this trust walk is that one partner is blindfolded and the other partner would guide them using only their voice. right? So this is my wife. I was the one doing the guiding, and she was the one following the voice. Now, for some of the people doing this activity, while we all knew that it was a group activity, for some people it was still scary. In fact, there were some people on the verge of tears during this activity because they were in total darkness. They were in total darkness. They had the blindfolds on, and the idea was for them to be guided from one place to the next. And they didn't know where they were going to go. They didn't know the path they were going to take to get there. They didn't know where they were going to end up. And for some people, this was a total freak out moment. They were uncomfortable with this to the point of tears. Now, after we did the activity, we did a debrief and we figured out, or we tried to talk about, what were some of the lessons that were learned in this. And quite a few said that it wasn't really that it was dark, right? It wasn't that the blindfolds were on and they couldn't see. It was that they felt out of control and uncertain. And one partner used an example. They said, sometimes I'm at home and it's nighttime and I'm sleeping and it's dark in the room and I have to get up to go to the bathroom or something. And I'm not scared of the dark. But at home in the darkness, I kind of have a sense of where everything is. So I can kind of feel my way around. But in this situation, I'm outdoors. I have no idea where I'm going. I can't feel my way around. And even though I hear the voice of my spouse, I still felt alone and uncertain. I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about that for a minute. You don't have access to seeing what's ahead in the way that you choose to. You do have access to a guide, and all you've got to do is trust the guide. There are other people on the same journey as you, and you hear them around you, and yet we feel alone because we are holding on fiercely to the idea that in order to make it, in order to achieve comfort, we must be certain and we must be in control. Think about that. Think about that. A lot of us have all of the resources around us. We have everything we need to be successful. And yet, because in one area we may feel out of control, or there's this one space that if we step into that area, we step into uncertainty. And so we decide that we're not going to step into that space. Or if we're in it, we jump out or we try to jump away from it because we're not in control. Is that you? Maybe it's me. Is that any of us? And maybe it's not in every part of your life, but it's in certain parts of your lives. Right? Where in your life does uncertainty freak you out? Where? Is it in your career? Is it with your kids? Is it in your relationship? How often do we quit on our jobs? How often do we quit on our businesses? How often do we quit on our relationships? How often do we quit on life because we feel uncertain or we lack control? There's this great book called Uncertainty by Jonathan Fields. And in the book, he talks about a CEO, a tech CEO, who was handling billion-dollar projects. And on the way to becoming a super successful executive, he found himself becoming less and less and less happy with his job. And so he thought about it and realized that he was having to respond to life on everyone else's terms. And this did not make him happy. And so he decided that he was going to give up his job. He decided he was going to give up his multi six-figure job and create another job for himself. He decided that he wanted to become a virtual CEO. Now, this job did not exist at the time, right? This was in Silicon Valley, in the tech area, in the startup area. This job didn't exist. But what he found was that there were a lot of businesses that were starting up and they didn't have the experience to scale or to grow. And so he said, I'm going to do something about this. He decided he was going to do it. Now, how did he make this work? He was stepping into a space that didn't exist at the time. He didn't have a model on which to base it on. He was just doing something because he felt like he needed to. So how did he make this work emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Man, how did he make this work? A lot of us, the reason why we don't step into certain spaces, we don't step away from our comfort zones, is because we're afraid of judgment. We're not sure what's next and how we can handle it emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and so we stay in the space that we know. Well, in looking or in studying this particular CEO and many others who seem to thrive in uncertainty, Jonathan Fields discovered some things. He said he found out that people who are able to thrive in uncertainty follow some similar steps and frameworks. They follow some similar steps and frameworks. Here's one. They create certainty anchors throughout the day. There are some things in their days that are certain, and they're aware of them. We create habits and rituals. Some people get up at the same time, eat the same food, leave the same time for work, wear similar clothing, and those are habits and rituals. And some of us sleepwalk through life, but sometimes if you are aware of those habits, if you're aware of those moments, those rituals, what happens is, because you're intentional and aware of them, you're saying, okay, I'm creating a routine here to give myself room to embrace uncertainty here. Because what happens is when we make so many decisions on a day-to-day basis, we begin to fill up our decision quota. We begin to experience what is called decision fatigue. So you take on routine or you take on habits so that you minimize decision fatigue so that you can take on more of the uncertain work that matters. Now, here's the deal. Sometimes when we listen to shows like this and we have moments where we say, you got to embrace uncertainty. It's a hard thought for a lot of us because we haven't sat down to think about, well, Robert, what is my uncertainty? And all of us have them. All of us have at least one. What's yours? What's your uncertainty? Are you uncertain about quitting your job to do something that you're passionate about? What's your uncertainty? Maybe it's been in your heart or in your space to write a book about something that you've been through and be super vulnerable, but you're uncertain about that. Maybe you've got it's been in your spirit to start a nonprofit based on your personal story of trauma and victory. And you're uncertain about that. Maybe you've wanted for a little bit to do open mic at a comedy club. Yeah, Gamal. And you've been uncertain about that. We can embrace uncertainty by reminding ourselves of what is certain so that we can lean into the uncertain. If you think about an astronaut heading to space, they're moving out into the beyond, right? This black space, and they're not sure of what's out there. They're not sure if they're going through this danger, the atmosphere, the different layers of that surround Earth, and there's some danger there. So, how does an astronaut heading into this uncertainty ground themselves? Well, they remind themselves of some things. They remind themselves of the certainties. They lean into certainty anchors, right? And they remind themselves of the fact that they've trained for this. That's a certainty. They've done this. They know what to do. That this trip that they're on is like the simulator. That the chair beneath them that they're sitting in is real and certain. Get it? Reminding yourself of certainties helps you through uncertainty. Okay, so that's part of the framework. That's number one. Second part that people who embrace uncertainty seem to be able to do is they embrace co-creation hives. Let's dig into that for just a moment. What exactly are we talking about when we talk about a co-creation hive? So you've heard me use the term masterminds before, right? And masterminds are typically these groups that are driven people who set goals and keep each other accountable to those goals. I told you about my 75 hard activity. We're just about halfway through right now, by the way. We're on day 38. So we've just hit the halfway point. And when you're in masterminds, you talk about ideas and you talk about goals and you keep each other accountable to that. Yes, that's important. And yes, that's good. And in a co-creation hive, it's not just a mastermind that keeps you accountable. Co-creation hive is a mastermind that keeps you accountable to exploration and embracing the messy middle, right? Groups that help you move past judgment and disarm the emotion. Groups that help you pivot and try things new or try new things. Groups that help you look at the possibility of failure and growth. Do you have a co-creation hive, a group that is willing to help you figure out things that don't make sense or to try them? Do you have any of those? If not, go get you one. I need to get another one. Right? So getting comfortable or embracing uncertainty requires being used to uncertainty or seeking uncertainty. Right? If I'm always seeking what I know, if I'm always seeking places where I have the answer, then that minimizes my ability to be creative when I don't have the answer. All right, so that's number two. That's okay. That was number two. Number three, the third one is getting comfortable with nothingness. Getting comfortable with nothingness. It seems we always have to have something around us. It seems we always have to be doing something. It seems like we always have to be involved in something. We always have to be scrolling. We always have to be liking. We always have to be commenting. We're always doing something. Are you comfortable with nothingness? Nothingness when you don't know what's next. Nothingness when you don't know what's coming up. Nothingness when you don't know if it's going to be good. Nothingness is when you don't know if it's going to be bad. When you don't know anything. Are you comfortable with nothingness? How do you get comfortable with nothingness? Well, the whole idea of meditation is just that. You've heard of mindfulness, and that's another form of meditation, but meditation is hard because our minds naturally wander. Not wonder, W-O-N-D-E-R, wander is what I'm talking about. We left, right, up, down, just our minds want to go everywhere, and our minds want to focus on stuff. And so it's hard to sit and focus on something that seems like nothing, like breathing. Right? So part of gaining comfort with uncertainty is embracing nothing. you've got to be open to being in a space where you have no expectation. You're focused on something, or you're just in the space of something where nothing is happening next. And I'm about growth. I'm about moving forward. I'm about learning. And part of that process is being able to deal with nothing. Being able to deal with uncertainty, being able to deal with not being sure what is happening and what is next. And in the midst of that, still finding joy, finding happiness, finding creativity. So we're winding down. We're wrapping up. Okay. So we've got homework that we always have. And your homework for this week, there are two things I'd like for you to do. Number one, this book by Jonathan Nelson, not Jonathan Nelson, I'm thinking about gospel music. Jonathan Fields, Uncertainty. I want you, if you have the ability to get Kindle or whatever it is, I want you to get that book. I want you to go check it out. Get the audiobook, do whatever you got to do. Find the book Uncertainty by Jonathan Fields. Find that book. Let me actually look really quickly at the entire title. The entire title is Uncertainty, Turning Fear and Doubt into Fuel for Brilliance. Right? Get that book. Get that book. And then the second thing that I'd like for you to do is write down, just sit for a moment and write down, if you knew that you couldn't fail or you wouldn't be judged, what is one thing that you would do immediately? And it may take you a few moments to figure out what this is or what this looks like. And that's okay. Okay? Two things. Get the book, Uncertainty. Read that. Number two, if you knew you couldn't fail or you wouldn't be judged, what is one thing that you would do immediately? Write that down. Spend some time. Part of what happens when we do this show and we give you homework is I don't only want to pump you up for the week. I don't only want to inspire you and motivate you for the week. I want you to implement some different actions. Because, see, we've been operating a certain way to get to the space where we are right now. And I want you to implement some different things. And sometimes that takes sitting down and just putting pen to paper. So get the book and then sit down and write. And it doesn't have to be a soliloquy or a big book or epilogue or whatever you want to call it. It can be just a couple of lines. If you knew that you couldn't fail or you wouldn't be judged, what is one thing that you would do right now? That's all we have for this week, everybody. To know when we're live next, text live to 240-557-8679, and I'll send you the link for the show. All right. Remember to check out the Storytelling and Selling podcast. We're off today, but every other week, we are on Mondays at 2:30. If you are a real estate pro or small business owner, you want to learn more about how to grow your business, check out the Storytelling and Selling podcast. And then get locked in with the Story to Sales Mastermind getting started soon. Head on over to story2salesmastermind.com. All right. Share your interest and we'll send you more info. I want to end today with this. Jonathan Fields, in the book Uncertainty, says, the more certain you are of the answer or the outcome in advance, the more likely it is to have been done already, to be a derivative, and the less anyone will care, including you. Anything certain has already been conquered. It's already been done. So, my friend, it's time to make your mark. It's time to take your place. It's time to make the difference that you were built to make. And to get there, it takes uncertainty, which is just another way of saying faith. It's Monday, and we want you to shift your mindset to a place of growth. But it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Be curious. Make a choice. Move. Start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever time it is on the eastern coast of the United States. On Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn for the next Monday Mindset Movement. Until then, be amazing, my friends.